Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. It is Tuesday, November the 16th, 2021, and this is Wake Up with Ray G. Y'all know who it is, presented by Bets TV. And before we get into the show, because we will be talking the Rams, the 49ers, the Dallas Cowboys, of course, I've got a very, very big announcement for you all. So if you've been following along the Bets TV rise, the Bets TV movement, you've seen shows from myself, Preston Johnson, Mad Lab, Jake Seeley, all types of people, Matthew Friedman dropping content daily. I just want to let you all know that right now, BetsTV.com is live. So if you want to see all the shows, all the actionable, entertaining betting advice content on the internet, head over to BetsTV.com. You can check out everything right there. One easy website to find all our shows. You don't have to search YouTube. You don't have to follow this account. Make sure you do, but you don't have to. It's right there for you on BetsTV.com. We just dropped that. We just launched that. So make sure you check out my show. Make sure you check out Jake's show. Make sure you check out all the content on the Bets TV lineup, the Bets TV network over there on BetsTV.com, live right now. Jay, how you doing this morning, my friend?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, that ad read, beautiful. Did
I do good? Was it fine?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Management's going to love that one.
Management.
Oh, yeah. Company.
Gotta make management happy, baby. Gotta keep them happy. They keep the lights on in the studio, man. But Jay, good to be here today. We got a lot to talk about because I'm not done talking about the teams that played on Sunday. I'm not done. We got to revisit this because I have come full circle. It only took me one game to come full circle on who the best team in the NFC is, and at this point in time, I think it's pretty clear cut who the best team in the NFC is. I've come full circle. Ty, what's going on? Lindsey, Mac, Zach in the comments already. We appreciate y'all tapping in. Make sure y'all sub, podcast, YouTube channel, all that other good stuff. But we got a lot to talk about. Carson Wentz had a game last night, so we'll talk about him in a second. Let's get into it on the morning run.
Wake up! This is the morning run.
Run, Forrest, run!
All right, the most anticipated Monday Night Football matchup in quite some time. We were all excited about this one. We didn't know if we'd see why are you on my screen? Get out of here, Jay. We didn't know if it was going to be Trey Lance versus Matthew Wentz. We didn't know if it was going to be Odell Beckham blow-up game or non-existent. And the game didn't quite live up to the billing. The San Francisco 49ers took down the Los Angeles Rams 31-10. And they just completely dominated this game from a time of possession standpoint. I mean, they out-physicaled the new-look L.A. Rams. And it's funny, Jay, every time we see these quote-unquote super teams get formed, whether it's in baseball, basketball, football, they always take an L coming off of the acquisition of all these players. I remember years ago, what was it, 2011, 2012, when the Heat formed their big three, went out there opening day versus the Boston Celtics and got smashed. So this was no different. There was a lot of hype. Odell Beckham Jr. making his debut with L.A. Von Miller making his debut with L.A. It was at home. I mean, it was in Candlestick Park, outdoors, perfect-looking football night. And, I don't even think it's called Candlestick Park anymore. I may be dating myself with that, Jay. But neither here nor there, they got their asses kicked. They got it handed to by the 49ers. Kyle Shenanigans called a hell of a game. This is what they paid the man for. This is what we expected from a Kyle Shanahan offense. I mean, I'm looking at the formations they were throwing out there, bro. They had Jeff Wilson at H-back. They're rotating running backs. Deebo Samuel was taking carries out of the backfield. 5 carries for Deebo. 27 carries for Elijah Mitchell. My word. 91 yards. Now, a lot of those carries did come in the fourth quarter. But, 27 carries. That's got to be close to a season high. I know Swift had 33 this past Sunday, but Elijah Mitchell looking good. George Kittle got in the mix from the receiving game, scoring that first touchdown. Deebo Samuel does it again. The Yak King. Literally, we had two of probably the best wide receivers playing football in the NFL today on the field at the same time last night with Cooper Kupp and Deebo Samuel, and both of those guys had big games. But the story with San Francisco, the way that they controlled the line of scrimmage, I tweeted out early in that game, the left tackle Trent Williams was doing work early. paving ways for Debo and Elijah Mitchell, and Jeff Wilson also got in the mix. I mean, 10 carries for 28 yards. You know he's working his way back from injury. Just a very, 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 very dominant performance from San Francisco. They ran the ball 44 damn times to only 10 by the Rams. And of those 10, only 9 of them came from running backs. Matthew Stafford had 1 carry for 1 yard. Death taxes and Matthew Stafford under rushing QB yards. Listen, what my big takeaway was from this game, Jay, was we know, and I want to ask you this question and get your thoughts. We know that Trey Lance is the future of San Francisco. We know that. When his time will come, I have no clue. Maybe not this season, but I'm sure as they roll into next year, Trey Lance will be the unquestioned starter for the San Francisco 49ers. I think. I don't believe they spent a number 3 overall pick to not play the kid. But my question to you is Jimmy Garoppolo, 15 for 19, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns, made some big-time throws. That last one to Deebo Samuel was just an absolute strike. I mean, anticipation throw, velocity, ball placement, all of it was right there. And he played, listen, we're seeing these quarterbacks and these coaches sort of take the ball out of the quarterback hands and have them manage their way to victory. And listen, it's working for Philadelphia. It's working for the 49ers. And I remember there were a game or two where Dak Prescott didn't throw the ball a whole bunch, and the Dallas Cowboys won that matchup. My question to you is Jimmy Garoppolo still one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the league? And if he's not long for the wear in San Francisco, do you think he's going to be a starting quarterback somewhere next year? Because off the top of my head, I know a lot of people like to give Jimmy Garoppolo slack and give him a lot of heat, and deservingly so sometimes because of the bad decisions that he would seemingly make when asked to put the ball in the air a ton. But if you're the Steelers, if you're the Saints, if you're the Lions, if you're one of these teams where your quarterback situation is a little murky, the Denver Broncos, I mean, would you bring in Jimmy Garoppolo next year? And do you think that any of the quarterbacks from the 2022 rookie class are definitively better than Jimmy Garoppolo?
That's a tough question for me. So to kind of answer it more directly, you said the 2020 class or 2021 class?
2022, like the upcoming. Like I'm thinking
class, absolutely not. I don't think
that the upcoming class, class.
Maybe Corral. I think your point about Pickett that you've made, he may be more pro ready than some of these other quarterbacks. But all the other guys are more projects, more fantasy quarterbacks, not necessarily ready the way Jimmy Garoppolo is. Now, top 32, I'm willing to say yes. But the problem is I think he's really great in this system. And so I was just looking up his dead cap money. This year, dead cap was $26 million, so he's not getting cut this year. But could you see a scenario where maybe he gets cut, but he comes back? You know, they cut him so that they get rid of all of his contract. He's owed $27 million next year. There's no way they're paying him that. But does he go find another job like you're talking about in Denver? Denver's the one spot that I could see happening. And then as well, let's not forget, Green Bay may be looking for a quarterback. You know, they have Jordan Love, but they may be looking to bring in a Jimmy Garoppolo for $5 million, $10 million. They still got Jordan Love on a rookie deal. But again, if Devontae Adams isn't there, where's the appeal for any quarterback? And then if Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver, like we kind of, expect him to in some ways because they have the weapons.
We expect him to go somewhere for sure. For sure he's going somewhere.
Denver's the best destination for any quarterback, whether it's Jimmy Garoppolo, Aaron Rodgers, rookie quarterback, whoever. Denver's the spot you want to be. I think it's more a veteran place. John Elway always bringing in veterans. But I honestly think that Jimmy Garoppolo would be a great backup quarterback for Trey Lance because he already knows him. And if he is paid a reasonable salary, why wouldn't you stay? I understand the competition of wanting to be a starting quarterback, but I think he's right on the fence. To answer your question more directly, I think he's probably a top 30 quarterback, but maybe not a top 25 quarterback. He's right on the fringe of being a starter. And when you talk about these rookies, like he's better than Zach Wilson. He's better kind of than Trevor Lawrence in some ways. Just depends on, what you're looking at. He's definitely better than Justin Fields is at times. So it just depends on kind of where you're at, but you want the potential and upside of these quarterbacks. And Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have that. So that's kind of where you talk about, would you want him on your roster? Probably not. But is he a top 30 quarterback? Probably, or close to it.
I would say definitively yes. What's the difference between Jimmy Garoppolo and Baker Mayfield? What's the difference between Jimmy Garoppolo and Matt Ryan right now? What's the difference between Jimmy Garoppolo and Ben Roethlisberger, Jimmy Garoppolo and Jordan Love, Jimmy G and anything in Washington, Jimmy G and anything in Carolina. Well, at this point, I know they got Cam Newton, Denver. You look at the Raiders. You look at and I know some of these teams have their quarterbacks locked up because of money, but I think you're a little off on that one. Just to say he might be a top 30 quarterback, I don't think there's a question. He's definitely a top 25 quarterback in the NFL right now, and he's only 30 years old. Now you can't argue with the age factor, right? Jimmy Garoppolo just turned 30 years old, so maybe 5-6 more peak, whatever his peak Jimmy Garoppolo years are. But I'm just watching that game thinking, if you're in Dynasty right now and, you've got a manager willing to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, what would you give up for him? I mean, a second-round pick, multiple seconds? Would you give away a first? What would a prudent move right now be to buy low on Jimmy G because he's going to end up starting somewhere in 2022, or are you still a little hesitant on that? For me, if I can get him for a second and a third, I think that's a bet I'd be willing to make in fantasy because, the quarterbacks, they just don't grow. And I'm looking, I hear all the negativity around them, right? And I think some of that is laced in the fact that people are just anxious for the young kid to play, and I get it. But I look at San Francisco's record with and without him. I mean, he helps that team win when he's on the field and playing well. Maybe the prudent move would be to go grab him for the low right now in anticipation of him being a starter. I mean, Jared Goff, for Christ's sake, got a starting job, and he looks he looks nothing close to Jimmy Garoppolo. He makes Jimmy Garoppolo look like damn Tom Brady. So that was just my big takeaway from the San Francisco side. Elijah Mitchell, once again, the young running back, dominating the carries out of the backfield. He's talented, man. The dude is fast. They tossed him a sweep pitch yesterday. He hit the crease, and you see that 4.4, 4.3 speed. He's just going to continue to get better and better. Deebo Samuel playing out of his mind. His yards after the reception number, just incredible. I mean, he's just a fun player to watch, and the big knock on Deebo was, can Deebo stay healthy? Can he stay on the field? And so far, so good this year. They're using him in all different type of ways, definitely playing like one of the best wide receivers in the NFL today. And then let's go to the Rams. Real quick, just crazy, right? Just crazy. Crazy.
Through the air, on the ground, he did it all. One on the ground, one through the air. It was just amazing what Deebo did last night. Pure dominant.
So this 143 number was his total yards number,
total yards. 97 through the air, and I think 36 on the ground.
36 on the ground and 2 touchdowns. And those uniforms are just clean as hell. I think those might be some of the best uniforms, those throwback 49er uniforms.
The uniforms in the Bay are dope, and we're going to talk about another one maybe a little bit later in the show.
Yeah, sick. So let's talk about the Rams side of the ball. A lot of hype and fanfare. We talked about it. Odell Beckham Jr., Von Miller, Sean McVay. What's this offense going to look like? No Robert Woods. They didn't look good. I mean, first play of the game was an outright to OBJ, got him involved early, and then I think 2 plays later, Matthew Stafford kind of scrambling around looking for somewhere to go, launches a deep one to Odell Beckham. Even if Odell was in the vicinity of it, it was double covered. They had a safety in a corner over top. Probably wasn't going to be complete, but it was picked off. And then San Francisco literally just was driving the ball down their throat, like 6, 7, 8-minute drives at will. Like they just dominated their presence over the Rams, man. Matthew Stafford, he didn't play well. 26 for 41, 243 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. The second interception, that one that jumped off of Tyler Higbee's hands, that wasn't Stafford's fault, but I mean, he gets credited with the pick. You know what I'm saying? The one to OBJ, throwing it up downfield, just sort of a YOLO ball, miscommunication. But again, even if Odell was in the vicinity, I highly doubt that was going to be caught. He almost pulled a Carson Wentz in this one, but luckily the ball fell incomplete. But Stafford, man, all the hype about him being the MVP, I think we can close the door on that. What do you think? Because I don't think there's any chance in hell Matthew Stafford's going to win the MVP at this point. He's had too many bad games and big moments that I think he sort of eliminated himself from this contest. The Rams trying fake punts in this game, didn't run the ball at all, even though Darrell Henderson, I mean, he looked good when he was getting the ball, but this was all about Cooper Kupp. He was the only thing the Rams had going for him. Literally, it was just Cooper Kupp, and a lot of that came late. 11 receptions, 122 yards on 13 targets, and Odell Beckham Jr., 2 catches, 18 yards on 3 targets. The defense was atrocious. They could not stop anybody at all. Aaron Donald, I mean, he had 8 tackles, but no sacks. Jalen Ramsey, he did all right through in the defensive backfield, but just overall, just kind of not a good performance by the LA Rams, man. What do you think about this game and their performance, Jay?
We joke about Matthew Stafford and how he's starting to play a little bit more like Carson Wentz, a little bit free. He threw up a punt, like literally. You can say it's interception, but it was a punt. Like that's exactly what it looked like. It got caught. He could have fair caught it for all I care.
Yeah.
It was the second pick, it wasn't his fault. But the thing is that it's not just the pick that wasn't his fault. It's not just him throwing a literal YOLO ball punt down at basically the Niners 10-yard line. It's the missed throws. It's the miscommunication. It's not entirely his fault. Odell only played 15 snaps in this game because he doesn't know the offense. He can't be playing in the hurry up, right? They talked about that on the broadcast, and you noticed it right away. There's some guy. What is his name even? The dude
Ben Skowronek.
Skowronek, and he had 5 targets in this game. He had more targets than Odell Beckham Jr. He obviously played way more snaps because he understands the offense. He can play in the hurry up, which is where the Rams are most lethal. When you play in the hurry up, they can't sub on defense. It's what makes the Rams so dominant. They can't do that with Odell because he doesn't know the playbook. He doesn't know the plays. That's not on Matthew Stafford. Van Jefferson dropping a touchdown. That's not on Matthew Stafford. But again, there were other plays. Him throwing short on a would-be touchdown to Cooper Kupp. It was probably a 50-yard bomb. He threw it short. Was incomplete. There's other passes he's throwing out there. You're like, dude, what are you doing? Throwing high.
And Higbee didn't help either. Tyler Higbee dropped at least 3 last night, too.
Yeah, Higbee didn't play well. The touchdown was actually a great throw from Stafford, a great catch from Higbee. But yeah, he dropped a 3rd down that would have been completed. It would have been converted.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I just wasn't overly impressed. I wasn't happy with what I saw. I don't think it's over for his MVP case. And the reason why is if Josh Allen somehow doesn't win it, so this is kind of more so NFC based, I think they still have the chance to get on a run. They're on a bye this week. They can get right. They have 2 weeks to get Odell Beckham acclimated to the offense. So I don't think it's over yet. I know we talk about Dak, Kyler kind of being the front runners. Kyler not playing so much may hurt his case a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think.
Tom Brady obviously statistically is there.
Josh Allen and Dak, man. But go ahead.
But so we'll see. The Rams, they're 7-3. They're not in a terrible spot. They could still go on a run, win a ton of games. But the biggest thing, like you mentioned, is the defense. The defense against the run has been horrible. They've been one of the top teams against the run all season long. And when you have your defensive backs leading your team in tackles, that's a problem. That means that they're getting to the second level, running the ball. They're getting to the second level through the pass game. And the amount of missed tackle, like I know that Deebo Samuel is one of the most difficult players to tackle. And when you see guys tackling him, they are holding onto his legs for a literal 10 seconds just to make sure he's down. Because when you think he's down, he's not. And so, but again, the amount of missed tackles we saw last night from the Rams, they're just not going to win football games playing that way. They need Odell badly. Like they're really missing that second wide receiver, and he just wasn't available from a mental capacity, understanding the playbook. He will get there. And so I think they will get better, but I still don't think Stafford played to where he needs to play to win the MVP or for the Rams to win games this season. Jimmy played great. He was like 8 for 8 in the first half, played a spectacular game. Kittle, Deebo, even Ayuk had some good moments, but the defense as well were on Stafford's ass all game long, and they played really, really well last night on all phases. I think the Niners played great.
Yeah, with you 100%, man. It was a dominant performance, man. And again, they just controlled a lot. Like, they just slammed the ball down the Rams' throat. And I'm thinking Von Miller's, he can't get after the passer if they don't pass the ball. They only threw the ball 19 times. Beautiful, beautiful game plan. We give Kyle Shanahan a lot of shit on the show, but they had a great game plan. They executed it to perfection. Moving forward, what are your thoughts? Do you think the Rams, do you think a lot of the narrative that we're going to see, just prepare yourself for all the Twitter narrative about OBJ and being a problem and it's his fault? Like, what was his fault? He played 15 snaps. He caught the targets that were thrown to him. He caught the ball when he was on the field. Do you have any concern about Odell Beckham fitting into this offense once he gets acclimated? I know we were all excited yesterday for his debut, but realistically, with like 2 days of practice time, we probably shouldn't have expected much because he couldn't be on the field. Literally, in the 2-minute, in the hurry-up offense, he was sitting on the sideline because he doesn't know what's going on. But do you think there's any credence to the fact that he's going to be a problem and destroy this team? Should we pay attention to any of that type of narrative? I mean, he looked good when he was on the field running. I mean,
Yeah.
looked fine to me.
Yeah, I'm honestly not worried about that. I think it's more so that Rams fans will blame him if things don't work out. You know, he was supposed to be kind of the savior, but he really was more, like we talked about, he's the added bonus. He's not supposed to be the guy that, he's the guy that can maybe take them over the top, but he's not supposed to be the guy that carries the offense over the long term. He's literally brand new to this offense. You can't expect him to fully understand it right away. And so I just hope that Rams fans don't blame him for that, because I think that he's going to be the scapegoat, you know, potentially Matthew Stafford, depending on how he plays. But if Cooper Kupp is not going away, you know, Tyler Higbee hasn't played overly well, but he can play better. Darrell Henderson has been great, but he was game scripted out of this game. Yep. It was just the fact they were down 14-0 that they couldn't run the offense in a way that was advantageous to Odell Beckham. And if they do get in a better game script, he will be in the game more, regardless of whether he knows the playbook or not, because they can get in the huddle, they have the time, they can get set. So we'll see what happens, but I'm hoping I don't think he will be a problem, but I think he could be the scapegoat if things don't go right for the Rams.
Yeah, I'm with Bruning. I mean, he wasn't the issue in Cleveland. We heard a lot of narrative about him being a distraction and a problem. There's no evidence to support that whatsoever outside of him wanting the damn ball like any wide receiver does, right? But there were no outbursts. There was no cancerous talk. All the players came out and refuted it, and Ty says an interesting point here. A bury the ball type game for the Rams, to be honest. Losing Woods more of an impact than it's getting credit for. Once OBJ gets up to speed, will be interesting to see what the Rams look like. I agree. I think losing Woods was a big loss, not just as a receiver, but
Absolutely.
just the presence. He's a good blocker. He can carry the ball out of the backfield on those jet sweeps. He's a possession chain mover type guy. I think it was a much bigger loss, and you had to account for him. Think about it. When Odell Beckham Jr. is not on the field, if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm just like, stop Cooper Kupp. Like, make sure Cooper Kupp doesn't beat us. Don't worry about Skoranek. Don't worry about Higbee. Don't worry about any of those other guys. And you're right. Van Jefferson did drop a touchdown pass. Matthew Stafford did underthrow Cooper Kupp for a would-be touchdown. But I think once he gets up to speed, I think it'll be a better indication, or we have a better kind of feel for what the new look Rams are going to look like, because it's not going to look the same. But you did see McVay motion Odell Beckham into the backfield a couple of times, and he actually drew the defense away from Cooper Kupp at one point when he picked up like a 33-yard reception. Odell Beckham flared to the flat. The corner and the linebacker jumped OBJ, leaving Cooper Kupp wide open down the sideline. So you could see how teams are still like, yo, that's still Odell Beckham Jr. We still got to watch him, right? But let's take a look, Jay. What I want to look at before we go to the power rankings and talk about the NFC and the AFC are the updated from Sunday, the MVP odds. Give me your top three. Who do you think the top three in MVP odds are right now? Your top three.
Josh Allen, Tom Brady, and then probably Dak Prescott.
Well, it's a tie. So it's Josh Allen plus 250, Tom Brady plus 350, Stafford and Dak both at plus 800. Kyler Murray is actually fifth. Aaron Rodgers plus 1,000. Kyler Murray plus 1,600. So Murray has fallen quite a bit, not playing, and by all indications that we're hearing, Jay, he's probably not going to play this week. I guess it's a high ankle sprain. Not really sure. Let's take a look at Rookie of the Year. We got to go through our Rookie of the Year odds. Where do you think we're at? Because Jamar Chase was the clear-cut favorite not too long ago. What do you think is going on right now?
Okay, so I'm going to go with Mac number 1. I'm going to go with Jamar number 2, and I'm going to go with Najee number 3 with Trevor Lawrence at 4.
All right, so Jamar is still the front runner at plus 110. Mac Jones plus 125. So the gap is closing, and after that, there's no chance. It's one of those two. After that, Najee plus 1,000. Devontae Smith plus 3,500, tied with Trevor Lawrence. Devontae Smith up there at plus 3,500, tied with T-Law. So Smitty getting up there. Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, do you want to guess?
Has to be Micah Parsons.
Yeah, it's
by
Parsons.
Like minus 200 or minus 300.
It's minus 150, but the next closest, Jason Alway at plus 750. Now, the most interesting ones, updated odds that I've seen. Offensive Player of the Year. Who is Offensive Player of the Year? Who do you think
Cooper
would
Kupp.
win? It's Cooper Kupp. I was shocked.
Has to be.
I was shocked. It's Cooper Kupp at plus, and it's not even close. He's plus 110. Devontae Adams plus 1,800 is the second favorite. James Conner also tied at plus 1,800.
Oh my God.
Yeah, James Conner.
He has 14 touchdowns?
Yeah, James Conner, Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year.
You want me to read off Cooper Kupp's stats now?
Yeah, read them off.
They're a full season worth of stats already. He's played 10 games, people.
Okay.
He has 85 receptions, 1,141 yards, and 10 touchdowns in 10 games. That is a full season for a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver in 10 games.
What's his career high? Go look up his career high numbers. Go look up his career high.
He hit his career high. Oh, sorry. He's going to hit his career high next game. His career high in yards is 1,161 with 10 touchdowns. So next game, if he gets 21 yards and 1 touchdown, he will hit career highs pretty much across the board. He needs 95 receptions. So if he gets 10 receptions, 21 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Wait, his career highs only. He's never had 100 receptions in a season?
Never. 94 is the highest he's ever had. It was 2 seasons ago.
So he could hit his career highs next Sunday. Well, not next Sunday because they're on bye, but the week after.
He is averaging 114 yards per game, which is just runaway. His career high is 72, and he's at 114 per game.
Wow.
Insane.
Yeah, I mean,
Offensive Player of the Year.
Offensive Player of the Year, Cooper Kupp. Defensive Player of the Year, where are we going? Defensive Player of the Year. We got to do our updates every Tuesday. Defensive Player of the Year. I am floored. I just want to say this. I am absolutely floored that Micah Parsons doesn't even have odds up. There's not even odds for Micah Parsons for defense. I'm floored. I'm not even not even plus 20,000. He's not even I'm floored. I'm absolutely shocked that he's not up for this award.
I honestly have no idea. I want to say Myles Garrett, but the Browns suck.
It's Garrett at plus 300. Trayvon Diggs second at plus 400, and T.J. Watt third at plus 500. No Micah Parsons odds. No Micah Parsons. It blows my mind. Marlon Humphrey, Budda Baker,
what?
Jair Alexander.
Where's the Bills defender? Can we get a Trey White? The Bills have the best defense.
Trey White's on here, but he's low. My issue is again, why is Micah Parsons not list? Did you see the Biletnikoff Award finalist list? I'm just going off on a tangent now. You didn't see the Biletnikoff Award finalists? I tweeted it out. Let me pull that. Okay, now we're pivoting. We're pivoting from the NFL to college, people. This is an on-air pivot. So the top 10 wide receivers in college football, top pass catchers were announced yesterday.
I think I did hear something.
Jordan Addison from Pitt. Jordan Addison, that's fine. David Bell from Purdue, no problem. Jahan Dotson, Penn State, no issue. Josh Downs, no issue. Drizzy Drake, no issue. A.T. Perry, fine. Sam Hartman's balling out. Jareth Stearns, Western Kentucky. Bailey Zappi is playing out of his mind, so somebody's got to be on there. Devin Tompkins from Utah State, really good wide receiver. Jamison Williams, Alabama. You got to have an Alabama receiver in there. And Chris Olave from Ohio State are your top 10 college football receivers. No Treylon Burks, no Garrett Wilson, no Jackson Smith and Jigba. Both of those receivers on the same team as Chris Olave have better receiving stats outside of touchdowns than Chris Olave, and neither of those dudes were mentioned as finalists. Absolute joke, whoever put this together. Whoever put this list together is... I just saw this. It just said this is a damn joke. It literally is somebody is playing a prank on us all because that is just blasphemous stuff. Let's check one more while we're here. Comeback Player of the Year, Dak Prescott, runaway favorite with that. Coach of the Year. Who's the coach of the
Oh,
year?
I was looking at this. It's
you looked at it. You looked at it.
It's Vrabel, right? Vrabel's the
Yeah,
favorite.
Mike Vrabel. Mike
Yeah,
Vrabel
for sure. For now,
plus
yeah,
400 for now for coach of the year. Let's see. 2022. Who's the favorite for the number 1 pick in the 2022 draft?
It's Thibodeau, then your boy Corral, then I forget who's next. I was looking at that too.
Malik Willis, but
Yeah, what? Okay, can we please talk about why is Malik Willis third on that list? In what world does he go first overall? Like, I could probably name at least 10 guys. Even who's the is it Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame? I could literally see him going first over Malik Willis. It's never going to happen.
Well, what was interesting is Carson Strong, 4th best odds to go number 1 overall. I'm sitting back,
big
Jay.
arm.
I'm sitting back and I'm really thinking. I'm looking at the QB landscape in 2022, and I know we look at it from a fantasy perspective. Man, I don't think Sam Howell's going to be a first-round pick. I just don't think so.
Oh, don't do it to
no.
me.
No. And it's not because I dislike. I know you love Sam Howell. I think he's going to be a day 2. I think he's going to be a second round. I don't think he's going to go round 1, man. I don't think he's going to go round 1. The quarterbacks that I can confidently say today, or the 2 that I confidently can say are going to go round 1 are Malik Willis and Matt Corral. That's not what I would personally do. That's not how I would do it. But I think those 2 are going to go round 1. I think Kenny Pickett and Carson Strong have a very good chance to go round 1. I really do. I know the fantasy community is like, Carson Strong averages like negative 17 rushing yards a game. He's big and he can launch the ball all over the field. Like, honestly, he's the most accurate deep ball thrower in college football. He's got a cannon of an arm. An NFL team is going to fall in love with Carson Strong. Kenny Pickett reminds me of that Mac Jones, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins type mold. Dude, even though Mac, I don't know, y'all need to go, some of the throws that Mac threw on Sunday were just, he threw one to Jacoby Myers for like 30-something yards. It was just a dime. Like, Mark Schofield on Twitter had tweeted that out, some of his throws, 4 of his throws from this Sunday. He's just getting better and better and better. But I don't think Sam Howell's going to go round 1. Desmond Ridder damn sure ain't going round 1. I don't know, man. I think it's like 3 guys. I think it's Strong, Willis, and Corral, kind of your big 3 in round 1.
So is that where you're at right now? Because we always like to have that little prop. Is your RayGQue's amount of quarterbacks going in round 1? Are you at 3.5 right now? You think is your over under?
I think that'd be a good over under 3.5. I think if they were going to set the line, I think 3.5 would be the line. Like over under 3.5 quarterbacks in round 1. And right now, I'd probably take the under because this draft is deep. Defensively, O-line is really good. Defensive line, when you've got 2 guys on the D line, you might have 3 D linemen inside the top 5. You may have it. You may have 3 D linemen inside the top 5. With Leal from Texas A&M, Aiden Hutchinson, and Kevon Thibodeau. All 3 of those guys could go top 5. The line is strong. Secondary, you got a lot of secondary players in this draft. I think 3.5 would be the good line. We're going to set it 3.5. Over under 3.5 quarterbacks in round 1.
It'll move. It'll move.
It'll move.
This is just how it starts, right? It starts here, but then as the hype builds, the Sam Howell hype, the Pickett hype, the Carson Strong hype.
I don't know. I don't know how much hype. I don't know, man.
We'll see.
I don't think Howell's going to go round 1.
Those pro days, they do a little something.
They do
get
a lot.
The balls tingling to some of those GMs.
All right. Well, we got to get into the power rankings. What conference you want to start with today? What conference do you want to start with? NFC or AFC?
I want to start NFC because NFC is a little bit more clear.
Let's start with the NFC. Let's go. NFC standings right now. Green Bay is number 1 in the NFC, sitting at 8-2. Arizona 8-2 as well. The Dallas Cowboys 7-2. The Rams fall to 7-3. I tweeted out last night, 1 step closer to the number 1 seed, baby. Tampa Bay 6-3. Got a bunch of teams at 5-4, Saints and Panthers, and then a bunch of teams at 4-5. Excuse me. Minnesota, San Francisco, and Atlanta. Jay, I'm here. I've come full circle. I believe the best team in the NFC are the Dallas Cowboys. They are the best team in the NFC.
Welcome to the bandwagon, my friend. Join me.
In the playoffs, you have to be able to run the ball, control the line of scrimmage, be a physical football team. And I think if the Rams went up to the played the Cowboys, played the Packers, played the Cardinals, for Christ's sake, they would run the ball down their throats. And I still just don't trust Matthew Stafford in the big game. I just don't do it. I cannot trust him in the big game. He puts up ridiculous numbers in the regular season. Hasn't played in the postseason often, but in the big games, man, last night they should have beat San Francisco. They were out-physicaled by the San Francisco 49ers. And what do you think the Dallas Cowboys would do with Zach Martin, with Tyron Smith, with La'el Collins, with Connor McGovern, with Ezekiel Elliott, with that offense? They would just out-physical L.A., Green Bay, and what they want to do, Aaron Rodgers, we think Aaron Rodgers, we like to think about him as just this throw it across the field all day type quarterback, but they're a physical football team. A.J. Dillon brings a different presence to that football team. They're a physical football team, and they're playing good defense. We know the Arizona Cardinals with James Conner, physical football team, hard to scheme for with Kyler Murray when he's 100%. Tampa Bay, man, I didn't know, but they lost. I believe they lost Vita Vea for the season to a significant knee injury, I believe. So that's a huge loss on the Tampa Bay defense. I mean, Vita Vea was probably like the key cog of that defensive front. So it's going to be interesting to see how Tampa Bay moves forward without Vita Vea. Saints.
Slight MCL sprain on that.
It's an MCL sprain.
Slight MCL sprain. It was confirmed that it's not serious, and he may miss a little bit of time, but not too much, not too significant.
All right, so Vita Vea missing a little time, not too much, but I know he's had knee injuries in the past, so we'll see how that shapes up. Carolina's interesting with Cam Newton. I can't wait to see how they look with Cam Newton at quarterback. They're preparing for him to start, and then I really just don't think the other three have any chance. Minnesota, San Francisco, and Atlanta. But tell me, the NFC, man, what's up?
Well, we have our top 5 teams, which is interesting because top 5 teams started the season 30-4, but now they're 6-8 since week 8. So they're reeling a little bit. The Cowboys lost that game to Denver, and the Rams gave up 2, Arizona gave up 2, but without Kyler Murray. So or I guess the game against the Packers was with Kyler Murray, and then the game against Carolina was without him. I don't know, man. I think that the NFC is just, we talked about this a lot, and it's the main reason why I'm still on Josh Allen for MVP, because the NFC, they're just killing each other, and they're not even playing each other right now. Like the Rams against the Niners, yes, a divisional matchup. Yes, they're going to be played tight, but it wasn't really a contest on paper. But the bettors got it right. It was at 3.5. It held at 3.5. And I was watching Preston's show yesterday, Last Word Cheetah, and he was talking about how it was the ultimate trap game. He was like, there's no reason why this line should move. He said he had it at 3.7. He said he wasn't touching it. But everyone, it was like 80% of bettors were on the Rams, or it was like 85% of bettors were on the Rams. Because it's like 3.5 points to the Niners, even on the road. Right. Like, come on, that's easy money, right? And I know even for us, we kind of thought the same thing. It was a weird line. It seemed like it should have been 6.5, 7 points. But again, the Niners showed you why they deserved that game. And I think the Rams haven't. I don't think Sean McVay has ever beaten Kyle Shanahan.
I know he's lost. Before. I know he's lost five straight for sure to the 49ers, but I don't think he's won in Candlestick either.
Right. So there's that aspect of it too, but it's just interesting to see how it was at 3.5 and it never moved, despite all the bettors being on the Rams. The line didn't move, but I'm with you, man. The Dallas Cowboys to me are the best team in the NFC, and it's because we've seen how well they can play, and in particular how well they play at home. The Bucs are another team that plays very well at home. The Cardinals have not played well at home. The Rams, they played okay at home. They haven't played great at home. To me, it's the Cowboys or the Bucs, I think, are probably the top team. Right now, it's definitely the Cowboys. I think the Bucs are going to figure it out. They're going to get healthier. We'll see. But it was surprising to me to see them at 6-3. Then you have the Panthers and Saints at 5-4. Yeah. That NFC South division is up for grabs right now. Whether the Bucs like it or not, it's up for grabs.
A lot of people who rock with the Packers and the Cardinals aren't happy that we're just bypassing the Pack. I mean, do you not believe in the Cardinals? I just don't.
I don't believe in the Cardinals.
The
Packers for me are tough because they don't score enough, in my opinion. They can put up points. That defense has been amazing, but we haven't seen them score a lot of points. So their point differential still isn't very good. Where you look at the Bills defense is great and they can put up points. The Dallas Cowboys defense can be great and they put up points. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense can be great and they put up points. The Packers can do it, but they may get outscored by one of these better offenses when it comes down to it in the playoffs.
I just missed this, and I just want to respond to Bruning. Why isn't Mitchell getting love for Rookie of the Year? Because running backs just don't win it. I mean, I don't know how many times like we have to say this. Like every year, my biggest takeaway, man, is from this season. What I've learned, having really delve into the betting world, Jay, is these awards aren't like they're not skill position awards. Even with the Heisman Trophy, and I know Bijan Robinson got hurt for the season, but he wasn't gonna like unless you're going bonkers at the position, like insane type production, you're not gonna win it. These are quarterback awards. Like all of these, like Heisman Trophy, offensive, NFL MVP, Heisman Trophy. These are all QB awards. Even Kenneth Walker, I think he's got the best chance to do it this year because no one's really just like seized it. But Bryce Young is still the favorite. Bryce Young is still the favorite despite how good Kenneth Walker's playing. So Elijah Mitchell, while he's been great, he's not even in consideration. Like next year don't waste your money on betting running backs to win these type of awards. But I'm with you. I'm just not buying Arizona, man. It's just I don't know. We haven't seen them in big time situations. I think Green Bay, they're a good football team. They're playing great defensively, but offensively, it's like Devontae Adams or bust. It's really like that is it. It's Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones or bust. I just don't think that's a sustainable way to really win. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with Green Bay. But it's no slight. It's no slight to the NFC. I think you've got those top five teams: Tampa Bay, the Rams, Dallas, and Arizona. Any of those five could make a push, but I just think that Dallas is the most complete team. They have the most explosive offense of the bunch. I mean, you literally can't stop all of them. I mean, now that Gallup is back, you've got Dalton Schultz, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Zeke, Tony Pollard, and then Dak Prescott playing at a high level. Offensively, this team is a problem. Defensively, with Micah Parsons, Anthony Brown playing good football. Trayvon Diggs is a pick six waiting to happen. He's also a touchdown waiting to happen, but you live and you die. You thrive and fail with that. That's okay. Once they get Randy Gregory back, Osa's playing great in the middle. DeMarcus Lawrence tweeted out yesterday that he's close to returning. This is a very, very, very talented football team, and I think they are the best team in the NFC right now. So let's go on to the AFC, Jay. The AFC, and we talked about this the other day, the Tennessee Titans at the top of the AFC at 8-2. They too are playing fantastic defense. You've got the Buffalo Bills at 6-3, tied with the Baltimore Ravens. The Steelers at 5-3. Why are the Steelers here at 5-3? Oh, because they've only lost 3 games and everybody else has lost 4. Good grief. Look at that. Kansas City, New England, the Chargers, the Raiders. Didn't it seem like just yesterday the Bengals were top of the AFC? Like it seems like it was just yesterday. Cincinnati was sitting at the top of the AFC. Indianapolis at 5-5. I have no clue. Pittsburgh, they seem like frauds. Kansas City is still Kansas City. New England is interesting. That's the interesting team right there. The fact that they're 6-4 after starting off, would they start off like 1-3, 2-4? 2-4. Man,
they've won 4 straight. So let me give you some stats, just for a bit of context for the people listening at home. So I was looking at some other numbers. I was looking at point differential. Point differential to me is really important. You look at a team like the Buffalo Bills. Yes, they're 6-3, but they're runaway favorites in point differential at plus 145. Yes, they blew out the Texans. Yes, they blew out the Jets, but it's a stat that matters. It tells you that they can score a lot of points and they play great defense. What you've seen time and time again, honestly, they shut out the Dolphins. I think they also shut out the Texans, or they only allowed 3 points to Texans. And you saw them get 5 picks against Mike White only last Sunday. Then second in the AFC, you have the New England Patriots at plus 98. Now again, they destroyed the Jets and they just destroyed the Browns, but even still, they've only allowed 177 points on the season. And I think that's better than every single team in the NFC. So think about that for a second. They've allowed less points than every single team in the NFC. That means they're playing great defense. It comes down to the offense. Can the offense score enough? But again, at plus 98 point differential, that means they're playing good football. They've won 4 straight. Then you have the Tennessee Titans at plus 46. They've won 6 straight. Then you have the Colts, who are at 5-5. They're plus 38. Bengals plus 33. Kansas City plus 21. We know they allow a ton of points. But the biggest frauds are the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are -8 in point differential, and the Chargers, who are -9 in point differential, and the Raiders, who are -20 in point differential.
All right, you ready to send the audience in a frenzy?
What are you gonna do, Ray? What are you gonna do?
No, we talked about it. We were texting about it. Did we anoint Justin Herbert, the second coming of Jesus Christ, a little too early? I'm just asking the question. It's not a personal opinion. I'm just asking the question. Did we anoint Justin Herbert a little too early because I even tweeted it out. I remember I said, why not Justin Herbert as Dynasty QB1? Do you think we anointed him a little too early coming off of that rookie season? What are your thoughts on, because I think the Chargers are frauds as well. It's funny because you watch Justin Herbert play and he plays a average game, but he makes one throw that just sends everybody in a frenzy, right? Everybody's like, did you see the throw? And I'm like, they lost the game. He didn't play well. He didn't throw for over 200 yards. Yes, that was a great throw. Did we anoint him a little too soon? And condolences to everybody left holding the Mike Williams bag. That probably should have traded him after week 3. But what are your thoughts on Herbert and the Chargers, man?
I think they are who they've always been. They've been frauds for years. Like, they've been the team that you expect. But you think about it, like, every year we're like, oh, this is the Chargers' year. They have a great defense. They're playing so well. But this is just who they are. And I'm not entirely surprised. They start off the year hot as all hell. And then Mike Williams gets hurt. And all of a sudden, Justin Herbert's not a good quarterback. So who's the X factor here? Is the X factor really Mike Williams? Does he need 2 dominant weapons to be this spectacular in the NFL? But we've seen this from a few different quarterbacks. Like, even with Josh Allen, he had a couple good weapons. Then he gets Stephon Diggs. Now he has enough to be, boom, bombs over Baghdad, blowing up the league, killing it. And I think, I think that Justin Herbert's a great quarterback. Did we anoint him too early? Absolutely. There's no question about that. I personally still think he has the ability to be in that QB1 tier, but there is no way you can have him there right now. He's just not playing well enough. Oof. He gets the ball to Keenan Allen. He gets the Blake Griffin. Okay, Stone. Stone just asked us, is Justin Herbert the Blake Griffin of quarterbacks? No, he is not.
That's a good comparison. Blake Griffin. No. Not Blake Griffin of today. Not today's Blake Griffin. But
doesn't matter. Blake Griffin was always an overrated player.
Hold on. Let's unpack this. This is interesting because Blake Griffin in his prime was a perennial all-star, viewed as one of the most athletic and talented players in the NBA. But you never could win with just Blake Griffin. He was a highlight reel waiting to happen. He would do things that we never saw power forwards do, the way that he dunked, the way that he flew through the air, as big as he was, just show-stopping athlete. But you just couldn't. I think it's interesting. And listen, Blake was anointed as a rookie. Like, Blake was that dude back in the day. I think you're a little younger, so you may not have really watched the NBA when Blake Griffin was coming out of Oklahoma and he went to the Clippers, but you're shaking your head. Was Blake Griffin not was
he Rookie of the Year? Did he break the record for points or rebounds in the NBA? No, he didn't do that.
Of course, it's not an apples to apples comparison.
It's not even close to me. It's not even close. How is it even close?
I just told you you didn't listen
to Anthony Edwards than you do to Blake Griffin.
Anthony Edwards is not a Jay. Listen. I want you to listen. Listen for a second. The comparison isn't just what he did as a rookie. We're talking early in his career. Blake Griffin was a perennial all-star player, viewed as one of the best power forwards in the NBA. He was a supreme talent. He was an all-star. He was an all-NBA player. He was a great young player in the NBA, but ultimately, you could not win a championship with Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin was not a cornerstone player for an NBA franchise. He was a great individual highlight reel waiting to happen box office type basketball player. All this was saying was, is Herbert a great quarterback, a highlight reel waiting to happen quarterback because of the big throws, but does where he lack in whatever department that is, can you win with Justin Herbert? That's the comparison, not Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards hasn't done anything. That's what I believe the commenters are trying to say. Is he the Blake Griffin of quarterbacks in the NFL? I actually don't think that's a slight.
I don't agree
there we
with that
go.
At all. And
it's a great comp.
So,
it's a great comp.
Again, this is my opinion. I think that Justin Herbert did a lot more to help them win games last season, because last season it was their defense that let them down. It wasn't Justin Herbert. This season,
I'm not talking about last season. I'm talking about right now. I don't care what he did last year. I'm talking right now. We know what he did last year.
But Blake Griffin was never a winner. At no point in his career was he a winner. So how you're saying right now? But Justin Herbert's in the middle of this whole thing. He's played what 20 games in his career?
I think the Clippers were pretty good during Blake Griffin's prime. I think
it wasn't because of him. It was never because of him. It was because of Chris Paul. It was never because of Blake Griffin.
Okay, so Blake Griffin had nothing to do with anything. He just was out there dunking and going to the All-Star.
He went to the All-Star game because he could dunk. That happens all the time. All the time. Going to the All-Star game doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean you're a winner. Justin Herbert, to me, is a winner. He's a winner.
What are you talking? You honestly are making absolutely no sense, and you sound silly as hell. In 2010 and 2011, he averaged 22 points a game, 21 years old. He went to 5 straight All-Star games, and you're saying the only reason he went to the All-Star game is because he can dunk. That's what you're saying.
Yes, 100%.
Get off my
100%.
screen. Mute yourself before I mute you, because you have said some silly things on this show. This might be one of the worst that you've ever said. Honestly, this may be the worst take you've ever had in the history of your young life, because that is blasphemous. We're not talking about 32-year-old Blake Griffin today averaging 6 points a game. We're talking about as a rookie, as a sophomore, as his third-year player. He was much more than just a dunking player that made the All-Star game. What are you talking about, man? You've completely thrown me off, and you've gotten the show off of the rails with that. I agree with you. The Pittsburgh Steelers are frauds. This division, it doesn't want to sort itself out right now. No one believes in the Raiders. I don't think anybody believes in the Bengals. It's going to come down. Kansas City, Buffalo, New England in the playoffs. It's hard to bet against Bill Belichick, but I don't think they're there yet. As much as I think Mac Jones is a really good quarterback, I like him, I just don't think he's there. Baltimore, Buffalo, Tennessee, probably rightfully so at the top three. And then if Kansas City, it's going to be a big game versus Dallas this Sunday. Kansas City versus Dallas. I don't know if I don't believe it's the Sunday night game, Jay. I don't believe so. I think it's just going to be a noon kickoff or maybe the 3 p.m. kickoff slate. But that's going to be a big game for the Chiefs and for the Dallas Cowboys. And I think the winner of that game will have a lot of confidence moving forward to round out the regular season to finish this thing out. So AFC, you've got on the show sheet AFC Championship predictions. Do you want to get into that now, or do you want to wait a couple of weeks until there's a little more clarity with some of the teams and how these things shake out, or do you want to do those predictions now? I kind of want to wait. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
I don't know.
So to your point, it's Fox Game of the Week. This week is
so
Cowboys Chiefs in Kansas City. Yeah.
So then that would be like the 4 o'clock, 4:30 game. 4:30 game. Okay, it's going to be a big game. That's going to be a really big game in Kansas City. A big test for Dallas on the road. How do you think that one shakes up? I know we don't have any player props. I think we got the lines.
I'm taking the Cowboys. We probably got the lines. I could pull it up right now.
Well, no, it's scrolling at the bottom. The damn thing should come across the bottom. That's what it's here for, right? Can you see it on your side? Can you see the thing on the bottom?
No, I just wasn't looking at it. It just always is there, and I almost just ignore it.
Yeah, it should be there at the bottom. But that's going to be a big, big matchup. College football, we'll get into that tomorrow. I mean, the Heisman, we kind of talked about that earlier. I think it's Bryce Young or Kenneth Walker. Let's see.
KC favored by 2.
Kansas City favored by 2?
Yeah.
Interesting. Baker might be looking for a new job. Baker
He can be an
looks-
insurance salesman
Dude,
for
that-
State Farm.
That 2018 draft, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen,
Wasn't Lamar in there too? Josh
Sam
Allen, Lamar
Darnold,
Jackson?
Lamar Jackson. That was the draft class.
2 for 5, not bad. Better
2 for
than
5.
most drafts.
2 for
honestly.
5. Baker's not good, man. I don't want to say he's not good. Cleveland needs some. We keep talking about what Baker needs, right? He hasn't had consistency at offensive coordinator until this season. This is like his first year with back-to-back same OC. They don't have any receivers, man. Cleveland
Best run
is
game
frauds.
in the league, though. And
Are
a
they
good
even?
offensive
Are
line.
they even? They're not even in.
They're 5-5. So they're 5-5, and there's one other team who's 5-5. Its name's escaping me right now.
Damn, the AFC. Somebody said Ray G is heated. This is what we do on the show, baby. This is what we do. Hey, hold on. What did he say? Can you guys just end the show already? The show's over, Bruno. We're about to get out of here. We appreciate y'all. Jay, good show today. You hate Blake Griffin. That is
I hate Blake Griffin.
what's been
That's-
determined. You
yeah.
don't like Anthony Edwards. You talk about him all the time. You don't like Anthony
He's Andrew
Edwards.
Wiggins part
You don't
2.
like
Just
do you want to do
realize
the
it, people.
We got a good basketball game tonight. Let's hit on that before we go real quick, right? Brooklyn Ooh, this is a good one, Jay. Go on. Bring us out with this, Jay. This is a good one.
All right, so I want to kick off the show with just saying that I love these jerseys. I'm probably going to get one. Steph Curry.
That Warriors
come
jersey
on,
is
man.
sick, bro.
Out of it. I see this. They've worn this jersey a lot. I love
Yeah.
it, man. I don't know where it came from, whether it's a new design or an old design. It seems like a throwback, but maybe they made a little tweak to it. It's beautiful. I got to get me a Steph Curry jersey.
Yeah.
But Golden State, man, best team in the NBA right now. Coming off a big home winning streak. They did lose to Charlotte, RayGQue,
LaMelo.
Charlotte Hornets, RayGQue,
LaMelo.
Chicago Bulls, RayGQue's got all. He reps everybody. But Brooklyn still 10-4, coming back. They're half a game back from being first in the East. In the East right now, they're playing pretty good defense, which is surprising because Brooklyn, they haven't played best defense. They're only allowing about 103 points per game. But Golden State coming in with the best win differential in all of the NBA, plus 13.3 points per game. Who you got, Ray? Like both these teams, Steph Curry,
Phew.
Kevin Durant. I'm excited, man. This game's at 7 o'clock too, so I'm actually gonna be able to watch it. It's not gonna be late on the West Coast. This can be a dope game. I'm hoping that it's gonna be a close one. Over under of 220. I'm tempted to take the under. I think it's gonna be a really close, tight game. I don't think there's gonna be a ton of scoring. Warriors defense has been spectacular this season. So has the Brooklyn Nets. I think it's gonna be an under. I think they're gonna give Steph some problems. Jordan Poole's going to have to score. Wiggins going to have to score. But this is going to be a dope game, and I'm hella excited for it tonight.
Man, I don't know, but I am pumped. KD versus Steph. Like, the thing about basketball is you can find, like, a dope matchup anytime the NBA is on, and I think this is going to be a good one, like you said. Coming off of that loss, I think it was a 3-point loss to Charlotte, 3 or 4 points.
Yeah.
I don't know. The original Slim Reaper, it's hard to bet against him, but the Warriors are playing fantastic on both sides of the floor, right? Defensively and offensively. Steph coming off of a down game. I think he shot 3 for 13 from 3. Don't anticipate him doing that again. I think I'm going to roll with the Warriors, man. One of the best teams in the NBA this season. Just imagine once they get Klay Thompson back, man. Work him back in slow. This team is going to be dangerous. And just to think, they could have had LaMelo Ball. They could have had LaMelo. They could have had LaMelo Ball. I don't know. Is Wiseman doing anything this year? Is Wiseman any good?
He ain't even playing right now.
He's not
Moses
even
Moody's
playing.
playing a little bit. But,
man.
it's like Stone saying, Wiggins has been playing very well this
He
season.
has.
He's been a lot better on defense, and he's been shooting lights out. Like, he just lit up the Timberwolves for, 35 points on 19 shots. But, yeah, Clay's he's the obvious X factor. Draymond's playing really, really well.
Yeah, he is.
I'm just
Draymond's
curious how they match up because, the Warriors are a bit smaller. They play up-tempo. They are a little bit smaller, though, on defense. So we'll see how that matches up because Steph can't really guard James. No one can guard KD. We'll see what else happens.
Yeah.
But big game tonight in Brooklyn, so I'm super pumped for that. It'll be a lot of fun.
Same, man. And one more time before we get out of here, betstv.com. Go over there. Watch out all the damn shows. Get your betting content, fantasy football content, all in one spot. Just save it as a bookmark on your screen. Just click on it. Boom. You can watch me. You can watch Jake. You watch everybody. Mad Lab. It's dope. Quan, Cheetah. Bunch of dope people. betstv.com. Make sure you sub to the podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll be back tomorrow. More arguments. More Blake Griffin talk. We'll be back tomorrow. We out. Peace.